What's up, YouTube? This is Bryce from the Shadowrun YouTube channel, coming back at you with another video. This is a Graydle Kaiju Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Yep, let's get down into it. First of all is going to be 3 Graydle Alligators. Well, I'm going to explain all 3 of the main all of the 3 main Graydles after I get them all out here. Next is 2 Cobra and 2 Eagle. So they all have their destroy effect that if they're destroyed by battle, they get to equip to the opponent's monster to take control of the monster, which is super helpful for all those boss monsters. Next one, this one's if destroyed by battle or monster effect. This is battle or trap effect, and this is battle or spell effect, and they equip based on their type. Next is 3 Graydle Slimes. It gets to destroy any 2 Graydle cards on the field, whether it's one of the other 3 or it's a spell or trap, and then gets a special summon, which is a level 5, and you synchro it with a level 3 or anything else, and you get into that Graydle Dragon and stuff. Next is 3 Graydle Slime Juniors. Mostly, when he's normal summoned, he gets a special summon 1 Graydle back from your graveyard, and then special summon the same level from your hand, which so you can go 2 level 3s and get into a level 8 that way, which then, with Graydle Dragon, you get a pop 3 instead of 2. It's a pretty interesting combo. It's just another Graydle card and saves the game a lot. That is it for the Graydles. I'm going into the Kaijus. Right now I'm currently only running 2 Gamma Seals. I am going to take this up to 3, but they're hard to find and super expensive, so I'm not quite there yet. Next is 1 Kumongus, 1 Radian. This is just a spot filler, the super anti-kaiju, until I get the 3rd Gamma Seal, so basically he's just the 3rd Gamma Seal, and 1 Thunder King. This is what I run personally, so I'm going to take him to 3, might take 2, might take 2, and might take 2 on each of these, and slowly just get more kaijus. But right now this is a pretty good lineup, because you get the negs with those, you get the neg effect with him, you get 2 tokens, you can get the 2 attacks, you get all sorts of things with the kaijus. And they all have the same effect of you get to tribute your opponent's monster, and then you get a special 1 to your field, and then you use their effects, and it's super legit that way. That's it for the Kaiju monsters. I'm going into the spell cards. Basically, just the only Graydle spell card in this is Graydle Impact. Its effect is you can target 1 Graydle card you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy both. And during your end phase, you can add 1 Graydle card from your deck to your hand. You'll use only 1 Graydle Impact per turn. But basically, this with Alligator, you use it, pitch the Alligator. When Alligator's sent, equipped to an opponent's monster, take control of it, and then you pop another of your opponent's monster with that, and you have opponent's boss monster and something cleared off the field. Super helpful that way. And you get to search off another one, so you can search off Eagle or Cobra or anything else you want. Next is the 1 Interrupt Kaiju Slumber. Again, I want to run it at 3, but I can't because the ban list has hit this. So you're going to have to stick with 1. But what it does, destroys all your opponent's monsters on the field, or all monsters on the field. Your field, I think. No, as many monsters on the field as possible, so your opponent's and yours. Then special summon 2 Kaijus, 1 to your opponent's field, 1 to your field. And they have to attack. So if you can summon them with a Gamma Seal 22 and you summon your 33 and you get 2 attacks, then they're supposed to attack under you, and it does. It's just super helpful for spamming those kaijus. Next is 2 Kyoto Waterfronts. They are the field spell of kaijus. You want to see these, but you don't want to see them 100% of the time, which is why I'm only running it at 2. I'm also running in here 1 Terraforming, so I'm running 1 Terraforming. So this is basically the 3s, 1, 2, and then the 3rd one of Terraforming to search off one of the 2 if I don't get 1. But basically, anytime card is sent from the field to graveyard, or card or cards, so you can only do it basically once every time like 5 cards are sent. You get to put a counter on it, and when it has 3 or more counters, you get to search your deck for a kaiju monster. So if you're really lacking kaijus, but you have a boss monster you need to get over, you search off that kaiju with the counters, and then you get over your opponent's monster. And what it counts as is it has 2 counters, so any of the kaiju effects that say remove counters, pop them off of Kyoto, and just keep leveling it back up again. Super helpful there with all of the searching and protecting effects. Next is 3 Kaiju files. I might only take this down to 2 or maybe even 1. I see it way too often, and I see 2 of them too often when I don't want to. But every time a Kaiju is summoned, so if you play it with Coyote Waterfront, so if you have 2 of these and you play Coyote, you get to put 2 counters on each of these. So every time a Kaiju is filed, or Kaiju is summoned, you get to put 2 counters on here. It searches off Kaijus and then protects Kaijus, and then if it would be destroyed, you can destroy that many counters instead. And it just puts counters on the field, mostly. That's why I use it, is it just puts counters on the field, so when you have to use Gamma Seal or Kumongus or something to remove counters, you just take them off of one of these and you don't care as much. Now for the rest of the spell cards that are not related to Graydle Kaijus. 1 Monster Reborn, just bring back what you need. Mystical Space Typhoon, pop your opponent's back row, because I always have a ton of problems with opponent's back row. They really hurt me a lot, and so I just need those quick ways to get over it. 1 Soul Charge, again, just bring back those monsters that you really need for Synchro Summoning or XE Summoning. Summon Dice, I only run it in here again as a spot filler till I get the other Kaiju monsters, or the rest of the Solemn cards are all in my other decks right now. But basically, sit here with Summon Dice, and you get to either summon a monster, destroy monsters, or it has different effects. I honestly don't play it all that often. Now for the trap cards. The Graydle trap cards. 1 Graydle Combat, 1 Parasite, and 1 Split. Each of these has its own effect. Basically, Graydle Combat is when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated that targets exactly 1 Graydle monster and no other card is activated. You can target one of these effects, and the effect of the card that they activated becomes destroy that monster. So you can do this with a Cobra, and then get the Cobra to equip, and then you get their boss monster off of it. Parasite is if they attack you directly, you get to summon a Graydle monster, which then they attack over, which then you take control. It's a super good way of getting rid of their monsters. Next is Graydle Split. You can target 1 face of monster you control, equip this to it, and it gains 500 attack. During your main phase, you can send this card equipped to a monster to the graveyard and destroy the monster it's equipped to, and special summon 2 Graydle monsters. So first of all, if you put this on a Cobra, once it's destroyed, since Cobra will be destroyed by trap effect, you equip, and then you summon 2 more Graydles, which then you can potentially equip to if you pop them as well. Really great combos with these 3 Graydle cards. I might take Split up to 2 or 3. It's super helpful. Parasite, they don't attack me direct all that often because you start summoning Kaijus and you start summoning Graydles like nothing else. So direct isn't super helpful. Combat depends on what you're equipping it to and what you're able to use it with. Honestly, I'll stick that at 1, take that up either to 2 or 3. Next is 2 Grand Horn of Heavens. Mostly because of that, I hate when my opponent summons monsters like boss monsters. Yes, you should be able to get over them with the Kaijus and the Graydles. If you can't, I have this in here just as the, look, you summon something, not anymore, and your main phase, and then the whole Grand Heart of Heaven neg the summon. Next is 1 Dark Smog. Honestly, I just played in here as a spot filler until I get all the other cards. It's kind of helpful because you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard and discard 1 Fiend type, and if you do banish that, the only Fiend in here is Radiant, but you can search off Kaijus and then get him into your grave by getting over opponent, they pop it, and then you get Radiant in your grave, and you can discard him from your hand and then banish theirs if they have a boss monster you're really trying to get out of the grave before they bring it back. Next is 1 Kaiju Capture Mission. Basically, you only target 1 Kaiju on the field and change it to face down defense. And you place a Kaiju counter on this card, so a max of 3. So again, it gives you Kaiju counters, which is sometimes helpful, sometimes not. And if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to your grave, you can draw 2 cards. So it's, first of all, a searcher and gives you counters. But I honestly don't use this card more than 1 because I don't want to see it all that often. I don't even play Kaijus on their field too often. So this whole deck is opinion based. So honestly, if there's anything you think I should change or add, feel free to let me know. But that's all. That's my opinion, is just run that at 1. Next is 1 Magic Cylinder and 1 Storming Mirror Force. Most of those, your opponent attacks you, clear their field, or just deal life point damage to them. So quick end a game or quick inflict damage to them kind of cards. That is it for the main deck. Now I'm going to go into my extra deck. Yeah, it's still a work in progress. I'm still missing a couple cards for it. I don't know what I want to add in here. That's part of my problem. But I'll show you what I have thus far. Right now, just 2 Graydle Dragons. I don't usually go above 1, but Like when I'm playing in a duel, I don't summon more than one, maybe two, but that's pushing it. But every time it's summoned, you get to pop cards on the field up to the number of materials used for its summon, so 2 or 3 based on what you used to summon it. Next is 1 Armades, 2300, level 5, easy to summon into. And when it battles, your opponent can't activate cards effects till the end of the damage step. Quick way to slow your opponent down. Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. Don't play it, just a level 7 synchro. If you want to know what it does, look it up. 1 Red Dragon Archfiend, just again for that level 8 3k beater, but destroys all defense positions. So if you know your opponent plays defense really heavily and you are either out of Graydle Dragons, so you don't want to play those dragons, go into Red Dragon Archfiend, pop all their defense, and you're fine. Next is that TG Hyper Librarian. If your opponent synchros or you just really need a level 5, when a monster is synchro summon, you draw a card. It's a quick searcher, quick drawer, and it's level 5, quick to get into. Last but not least is the Phantom Knight's a Break Sword. Mostly only use it because it uses 2 level 3s. Use it as a last resort. I've never actually done this in a duel. I mostly use that Graydle Dragon. But you can detach cards. You can detach a material from this, and then target one card you control, one your opponent controls, and destroy them. So you can again combo it with Graydles. And if it's XZ summoned, or if this card is destroyed, you can target 2 Phantom Knight monsters with the same names in your graveyard and special summon them and increase their levels by 1. I don't have any, so that effect is kind of useless. Well, that is my Graydle Kaiju Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and send your friends to the Shadow Realm.